these people struggle making breads and pies and all. It's a lot of fun. Please help us keep these wonderful programs on the air. We need your help.
Listen live to KRWG Radio anytime at krwg.org.
Local support for a portion of today's programming is provided by Wells Fargo. Our support of Aggie students goes beyond just banking. By supporting NEWS22, we're giving back to the community. Wells Fargo. Together, we'll go far.
Protesters say Congressman Pierce needs to talk to them.
And the Aggie basketball team is so good, so why are the crowds so small?
NEWS22 starts now.
Serving southern New Mexico, this is the award-winning KRWG-TV NEWS22, where news matters.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Alexa Baca.
And I'm Andres Valle. The Doñana County Commission is opposed to the raids by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The commissions passed the resolution earlier today.
The resolution says the raids cause people in the immigrant community to be afraid of law enforcement, and that means crimes may go unreported or unsolved to avoid fears of running into law enforcement or ICE agents. The statement also included a solution approach to reforming the now broken immigration system. The commission approved the statement 4-1. Commissioner Ben Rawson voted against it. Just last week, the Las Cruces City Council approved a measure opposing the border wall.
President Trump will be delivering his most important speech since his inauguration tonight. White House officials predict it will be an optimistic speech, but Democrats aren't buying it. While speaking with Fox News, the president has acknowledged the fact that he isn't perfect and he hasn't been his message as of late. The president will attempt to get that message right tonight, laying out his plans to repeal and replace Obamacare, crack down on illegal immigration, tackling the budget, grow the economy, and beef up national security.
I think in terms of effort, which means something, but I give myself an A+, okay, effort, but that's, results are more important. In terms of messaging, I would give myself a C or a C+.
Uncertainty over what the Trump administration plans to do with immigration continues to stir unease in communities across the U.S. In New Mexico, one legal group is doing what it can to try to keep up with the growing case log. Attorneys with the New Mexico Immigrant Law Center in Albuquerque says their workload has gotten a whole lot heavier. He says there aren't enough immigration attorneys, even though undocumented people have a right to an attorney. President Trump's Homeland Security Secretary said Sunday immigration enforcement would only go after criminals. It sure has been a windy day today.
It sure has been, and Jess is next with weather.
Thanks, guys. It's the windy season, and Las Cruces definitely felt it today. The National Weather Service says we had gusts this afternoon of up to 70 miles an hour. Right now, the winds are only around 13 miles per hour and are expected to stay calm through the night. The wind was a lot stronger around the New Mexico-Arizona state line. Blowing dust forced the closure of Interstate 10, and high winds have caused dangerous driving conditions for this area. Zero visibility from the wind and dust storms resulted in a multiple car crash on Sunday. This region saw problems last year as local farms would send dust clouds across roads during windy days. There is no estimated time for when the reopening of the freeway is going to be at this time. So let's go ahead and take a look at our current conditions. Right now we're looking at cloudy skies, of course windy, like I said, a temperature at 58 degrees, winds coming from the southwest at 17 miles per hour, a humidity at 20%, our dew point at 20 degrees, and our barometer at 29.77 inches. Today we saw a high of 68 degrees, which is right above our average at 67 degrees. Expect a low of 35 tonight. Our record temperatures were in 2008 and 2011, with our high temp at 81 degrees and our low at 19 degrees. We didn't see any rainfall today, so our yearly precipitation sits at 2.13 inches. I'll be back later for your national forecast, but for now, back to the desk.
It's tax season, and it's time to be on alert for tax scams. Already, New Mexico Attorney General Hector Balderas has issued an alert that's been happening over the phone. People conducting schemes, scams, and identity theft are out there trying to get people's private information and money. These calls have been saying that the IRS and that they have a criminal lawsuit. The IRS will never call or email you. To be up to date on all types of scams, visit Hector Balderas' website. A structure fire in the 800 block of Idaho Avenue has claimed the life of a 67-year-old man. Las Cruces firefighters reported to the scene early Sunday night, where they found the man unconscious in his second-floor bedroom. The first responders tried to revive the victim but were unsuccessful. The fire was contained to just one apartment in the building. Investigators are still looking into the cause of the fire. Stay tuned. Jess will be back with your national forecast.
And later, Javier Gutierrez shows us what's going on with Aggie basketball. More on that when News 22 continues.
At a recent KRWG coffee visit, we talked with KRWG fans about why they value public media.
And the opportunity for people to call in and share their views is really valuable and an important part of community building.
My entire time in Las Cruces, I have been a PBS NPR girl.
I want everybody to be able to hear all the programs that I enjoy.
The best in radio, television, and online programming is only possible with your support. Become a member online at krwg.org or call 1-888-922-5794. Thank you.
We aim to make Nightly Business Report every night the definitive business show of record.
We always will cover healthcare, jobs, the major economic stories of the day.
We have a reach that I don't think is matchable by anybody who is dedicated to business news as we are.
Nightly Business Report is the longest running business television program on the air. It proves how valuable it really is.
Weekdays at 6:30 p.m. on KRWG TV.
Welcome back. You're watching News 22.
Where news matters.
New Mexico Congressman Steve Pierce is also the target of protesters. This past Friday, a large group of people have gathered outside his Las Cruces office. They called it a fake town hall.
They said they did it because Pierce was not holding a real town hall meeting. News 22's Melissa Barraza was there when the shouting started.
Many in this group of about 200 are from Truth or Consequences. They're affiliated with a national group called Indivisible.
I asked him to support the issues of the people when he votes in Congress. He votes with everybody else.
The protesters say Pierce seems to be avoiding town hall meetings in Las Cruces to answer questions about the issues around President Trump.
More accessibility, more town meetings. I mean, I understand he's got offices thinly staffed around the state, but he has to do more, and more needs to come out. I mean, I looked at his website about 10 days ago, and there was very little on it.
From what I understand, he's a hard person to catch. He does a lot of hiding.
Residents did not wait for the congressman to hold a town hall meeting. They held their own, without the congressman, and they asked their own questions.
Why is the Trump administration's approach to deportation causing such fear and already tearing apart families?
Thank you for your opinion. Let's move on.
They're concerned about the priorities of this Congress and where they decide to spend money.
Do your job.
Now they keep complaining about all the debt we have, and they got to cut schooling, they got to cut health care, they got to cut Social Security, they got everything they want, they cut. But yet when it comes to war, they keep turning around spending trillions of dollars on wars, and we haven't won a war yet since the Second World War. So what good has all this war done? It hasn't done a bit of good. And it's about time they started doing something for the people of America.
And this group really didn't like the president's plan to build a wall.
I see Trump one by one taking away my rights and taking away the things that the people need in order to pay for things like a wall. They want to sell our land, our public land. New Mexico is famous for its public land.
The group plans to hold more peaceful protests until Steve Pierce holds a public town hall meeting. Melissa Barraza, News 22.
We were unable to get a response from Congressman Pierce's office, but his staff has been quoted in the Las Cruces Sun-News saying the congressman was not able to hold a town hall meeting because he's out of the country. He has been traveling in the Middle East as part of his responsibility as chair of a subcommittee investigating terrorist financing.
Doña Ana County prosecutors are seeking a life sentence without parole for an Ohio man charged with killing a New Mexico police officer.
That's the first story in tonight's Crime Blotter. Haynes is charged with the August murder of Hatch police officer Jose Chavez. Prosecutors want a sentence of life without parole for Haynes if he is convicted in Chavez's death. Prisoners are serving life sentences in New Mexico are eligible for parole after 30 years unless there are aggravating circumstances. Las Cruces police have arrested their suspect in a Sunday evening murder at a home on South Manzanita Street. Taylor James Enriquez is charged with murder, false imprisonment, and battery. Enriquez was booked into the Doña Ana County Jail where he is being held without bond. Customs and Border Protection officers at the Santa Teresa Port of Entry made 2 drug busts over the weekend. They seized a total of 15.5 pounds of cocaine. In the first seizure, an x-ray showed something suspicious, which turned out to be bricks of cocaine. The second seizure was when a drug-sniffing dog found 2 bundles of cocaine inside the engine. Officers arrested both drivers. They are facing drug smuggling charges. And Las Cruces Crime Stoppers is offering a reward for helping identify 2 men suspected of shoplifting inside the Mesilla Valley Mall. On Saturday, 2 men went into the Ulta Beauty store, grabbed a shopping bag, and filled it with $1,000 worth of merchandise. They ran out without paying. The men are said to be Hispanic and possibly in their 20s. A witness said they left in a royal blue car. My name is Alexa Baca with tonight's Crime Blotter.
New Mexico State University Campus Health Center is raising awareness about eating disorders.
The Campus Health Center and the WAVE program are partnering up to bring awareness about this serious illness. The health education specialist Kirsta Bezenik says 20 million women and 10 million men will suffer from clinical significant eating disorders.
Here what we're doing, the health education program, is we're promoting our online mental health screening link. It actually includes alcohol screenings, depression screenings, eating disorder screenings, which is what we're pushing this month. But it's an online, anonymous, totally free screening that students, staff, and faculty, actually anybody could take it, anybody in the community.
If anyone in the community thinks they may have a problem, they can check out the anonymous online mental health screening at wellness.nmsu.edu.
Colon and rectal cancers have increased dramatically in millennials and Generation X adults over the past 4 decades. While scientists have not pinpointed an exact cause, prime suspects include obesity, inactivity, and poor diets. Someone born in 1990 has double the risk of early colon cancer and 4 times the risk of early rectal cancers as someone born in 1950.
NMSU will be hosting a panel of cancer researchers from the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center in Seattle. Nina Salama, a microbiologist who leads a research team, will speak at 6 p.m. Friday, March 10th. Both presentations will be held in Gerald Thomas, room 194. They will be talking about the different types of cancers and the research that has been made in those fields.
After claims that sitting is the new smoking, many believe that a standing work desk is the healthier option.
Kim Hutcherson has more on that in tonight's Health Minute.
Sitting may be getting a bad rap. A recent study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine took a look at nearly 5,000 public servants in the United Kingdom. The subjects were, on average, in their mid-40s, with no history of diabetes, heart, or circulatory problems. Most claimed to be physically active. Over the course of 13 years, only 402 of the nearly 5,000 workers developed diabetes. The report concluded that the fix for sedentary lifestyles may be more complicated than just eliminating as much sitting as possible. Researchers say more attention needs to be paid to the type of sitting and the context around it. For example, higher status jobs are usually associated with sitting, but those in higher socioeconomic positions are shown to have lower risks of chronic diseases. Meanwhile, heavy TV watching, which involves a lot of sitting, has been linked to issues like unemployment or poorer mental health. The study's authors say before deciding sitting is a risk to your health, you should look at how much exercise you're getting to offset your sedentary spells. A recent review published in The Lancet found 60 to 75 minutes of physical activity a week eliminated the increased risk of death associated with sitting. For today's Health Minute, I'm Kim Hutcherson.
And Jessica is up next with your weather.national forecast. My apologies. One of the biggest issues in the United States today is rights for the LGBT people, and now the NMSU Women's Studies program is changing the name to include that issue. The new name is now Gender and Sexuality Studies. The program is in the Department of Interdisciplinary Studies, and Department Chair Patty Wuhan says other universities started changing the name of Women's Studies in about 2010, and NMSU is now following the national trend.
Well, with this name change, we're really hoping to show the inclusivity that we've always had. We always want to welcome all students, no matter what gender they identify with. The Women's Studies name seemed more like it was targeted simply to women or the study of women, but we have courses in masculinity studies and all kinds of, we examine all kinds of differences.
The department has created a video explaining the changes happening in the program. For more information, you can go to genders.nmsu.edu. It's something the Pan American Center has dealt with for a few years now, the lack of attendance at men's basketball games.
But how did a once loud and proud arena lose some of its following? NEWS22's Javier Gutierrez reports.
The empty seats, the squeak of sneakers. These at one point weren't present in the Pan Am, when it used to look a little something like this. Sights like this is what an Aggie basketball game was like, when NMSU had one of the loudest crowds in the nation and were properly labeled the Panamaniacs. Those days seem like a distant memory, but many fans remember those good times.
Those were crazy. People were hanging up sharks and stuff from the rafters, and it seemed like it was a real crazy time.
John Gutierrez graduated from NMSU in 1989. He still enjoys watching the Aggies, but he agrees it's not the same. His son Andrew Gutierrez is now at NMSU. He claims the attendance issue is getting better.
There's been more students in the last couple of years for sure. We've kind of found our stride in success a little bit, I think. We've had some good success with the program, so I think it's drawn some fans out. I mean, there could definitely be more always, but always for the big games, we show out. We show out really well.
The Pan Am can hold 12,000 fans, but the Aggies' largest attendance of the year came against New Mexico, just 6,300. The university is working on ways to get people in the door, like giveaways and appreciation nights.
The promos this season with the caps, the ball caps, more stuff like that gets people in the doors. I remember those games were pretty busy, pretty rowdy, so yeah, more stuff like that definitely get people in the doors.
Fans like John Gutierrez are hopeful that the Pan American will return to the glory days of Aggie basketball. Javier Gutierrez, NEWS22.
And Jess is next with the weather.gov national forecast.
Let's go ahead and take a look at our national weather. So you'll see that in Houston, they're sitting at a nice 81 degrees with cloudy skies. In Albuquerque, 56 degrees. In Reno, 39 degrees. Up here in Cut Bank, looks like some snowy skies at 23 degrees. In Kansas City, 79 degrees. And in Norfolk, 77 degrees. On my next map, you'll see that the central part of the U.S. are having some major severe thunderstorms at this time. It is creating some large hail and a lot of lightning strikes. So folks in this area are really having to deal with all of the potential tornado warnings and all of that stuff. On the next map, you'll see that in Texas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico, we are seeing a brush fire threat due to the low humidities and the high winds. So please, if you're in this area, please be cautious of these current conditions. I'll be back after the break to take a look at your New Mexico forecast.
Welcome to an exciting new season of New Scandinavian Cooking,
the international cooking series that explores Scandinavian cuisine, culture, and history.
Thursday at 2:30 p.m. on KRWG.
On Africa's great civilizations.
North and West Africa undergo a dramatic transformation. Great scholars write books that fill libraries. African societies encounter new conflicts with each other and with the outside world.
Wednesday at 8 p.m. on KRWG TV.
Spy in the Wild concludes with a behind-the-scenes look at the making of the series. Meet the creators whose cutting-edge designs and technology built an army of remarkable spy creatures.
Hello, Bush Baby. We're going to put you now with the chimps.
And follow the filmmakers who took great risks to deploy them in the wild.
Wednesday at 7 p.m. on KRWG TV.
Welcome back. Let's go ahead and take a look at our New Mexico conditions. Right now, you'll see some chilly temperatures up in Farmington at 36 degrees, Clovis at 55 degrees, Socorro at 56 degrees, Roswell at 62 degrees, and Deming at 57 degrees. For tomorrow, we can expect some pretty low temperatures as well, so not warming up anytime soon. In Santa Fe, they'll be sitting at a nice 42 degrees, Albuquerque at 51 degrees, Ruidoso at 49 degrees, Roswell at 64 degrees, and Deming at 61 degrees. Let's go ahead and take a look at our sister cities. In Alamogordo, you folks can expect a nice low of 59 tonight and a nice high of 62 tomorrow with sunny skies. In TRC, expect some clear skies tonight at a temperature at 57 degrees, some sunny skies tomorrow of a high of 62 degrees. Silver City, you can expect some clear skies tonight with a temperature sitting at 43 degrees, sunny skies at 56 degrees. And here in the beautiful city of Las Cruces, we can expect some clear skies tonight with the temperature at 35 degrees, sunny skies tomorrow at 62 degrees. I'll be back later with your 5-day forecast.
A Texas teen is lucky to be alive after he drove his car off a parking garage.
That's the first story in tonight's Southwest Minute.
Police in Houston say the boy drove off a parking structure Sunday. The car crashed through the roof of a plumbing and hardware store. Firefighters found the driver, who had climbed out of his vehicle and actually made his way inside that store. The driver was taken to an area hospital for treatment. His condition is not known. At least 3 people are dead and 2 injured after a small plane smashed into a neighborhood in California Monday. Officials say the plane struck some homes in Riverside, split apart, and then burst into flames. No one on the ground was hurt investigating the crash. And deputies in Arizona are investigating after they believe a drug lab caught fire. Fire crews were called out to a house fire and discovered a man who had been severely burned. He was taken to the hospital with third-degree burns to his head, arms, and legs. Investigators believe he had a butane hash oil lab in the home. Authorities found more than 70 cans of butane along with raw marijuana and butane honey oil. Authorities are adding up the charges against the man. I'm Raquel Andujo, and this is the Southwest Minute.
And Javier Gutierrez is next with sports.
Thanks, Andres. Coming up in sports, the Aggies men's basketball team takes the court, and a play of the day you don't want to miss. You can toss that remote because NEWS22 Sports is next.
On Africa's great civilizations.
Europe's exploration of the Americas ignites a race for riches that turns the world upside down. This new world becomes synonymous with trade, and a crucial component of trade is the shipping across the Atlantic of 12.5 million Africans as slaves. Powerful empires rise and fall during this time of seismic global change.
Thursday at 8 p.m. on KRWG TV.
All cast to places.
Lynn didn't say I was writing a show. Lynn said I'm writing a song.
I worked on it for about a year.
When you told us, I'm going to do a rap about Alexander Hamilton, we said, well, good luck with that. Right?
Our show opened on Tuesday and the world blew up.
I have more than once compared Lynn to Shakespeare.
I knew that Hamilton was going to change my life.
Hamilton is somewhere going, thank you.
Friday at 8 p.m. on KRWG TV.
This is KRWG-TV NEWS22 Sports.
Welcome back. I'm Javier Gutierrez, and let's talk sports. The Aggie men's basketball team is celebrating their 24th win of the season after defeating Seattle U 86-53. The Aggies started the first half with a 42-23 lead. They shot 16 of 32 from the floor. The Aggies continued playing great defense, forcing 9 Seattle turnovers in the second half. Eli Chua led the Aggies with 17 points and also hauled in his 13th double-double of the season. The Aggies will be back in action and their last game of the season against UT Rio Grande Valley this Saturday at 7 p.m. The New Mexico State baseball team shrugged off a beatdown from Texas Tech and now protected the SKU. The Aggies took on Mount St. Mary's this weekend in a 4-game series. The Aggies were victorious in all 4 games. On Friday, the Aggies would cruise past the Knights 13-2 behind third baseman Joey Ortiz's 3-run performance. The Aggies would continue to dominate into Saturday, winning 6-3 and 25-4. But the worst defeat came Sunday as the Aggies creamed the Knights 29-1. The Aggies were led by senior Austin Botello, who had 6 hits and 5 RBIs. The Aggies are currently playing Arizona State right now. You can catch that on the Pac12.com or listen to Crooks 91.5. It is a sad day for all Vikings fans out there as the era came to an end today. Adrian Peterson has announced that he won't be returning to the team next season. The running back will instead become a free agent since the Vikings won't meet his contract demands. This is the first time in his career that Adrian Peterson has been a free agent. He spent 10 years with the Vikings where he racked up 7 Pro Bowl appearances, 1 NFL MVP award, and was the NFL rushing leader for 3 years. Peterson currently sits at number 16 on the NFL all-time rushing list. And tonight's play of the day is brought to you by the Dino himself, DeMar DeRozan. Enjoy.
Derrick Rose is on him. DeRozan backs in, falling away, jumpers up and good with 1.9 remaining. What a brilliant fourth quarter performance from DeMar.
About matchups, Mike, and when you got a smaller defender, you can see over him. DeRozan didn't even feel Rose. He's a little bit taller, he's a little bit longer. But it was a tough shot.
Wally Rose had ample opportunity.
And that's all for News 22 Sports. Join us for more sports action tomorrow. Still ahead on News 22, Jess will be back to take a look at your 5-day forecast. And people everywhere are getting to the holiday spirit. More on that when News 22 returns.
Well, it's been quite a while since our last public television special, so I decided it was time to come back home again. I'm Daniel O'Donnell, and I hope I'll see you soon as we come back home again for this special concert on public television.
Saturday at 4 p.m. on KRWG TV.
I'm Dr. Neil Barnard. Are you struggling with your weight, dragging in the middle of the day? Well, I've got great news. Scientific advances show us how powerful foods can bring your energy up and your weight down. Find out how on the Energy Weight Loss Solution.
Saturday at 1 p.m. on KRWG TV.
Local support for a portion of today's programming is provided by Wells Fargo. Our support of Aggie students goes beyond just banking. By supporting News 22, we're giving back to the community. Wells Fargo. Together, we'll go far.
Are you hungry for more of the Great British Baking Show? Now you can get all the pudding, cakes, and pies your heart desires.
This is absolutely delicious.
As a member of this PBS station, you can stream 3 full seasons of the Great British Baking Show plus masterclass episodes. Now available in Passport. Catch up anytime.
There we are, the crowning glory.
Become a member now. Sign in and start streaming Passport today.
Get extended streaming of PBS programs by becoming a KRWG TV member at krwg.org or toll-free 1-888-922-5794. Passport is only a benefit for television memberships at the $60 level or higher. That's just $5 a month for sustaining television memberships. Current $60 a year TV members can email feedback at nmsu.edu to unlock Passport. New members join us at krwg.org or 1-888-922-5794. This is KRWG Las Cruces, serving the entire region thanks to your support. Become a member anytime at krwg.org.
Local telecast of the PBS NewsHour is provided in part by
the New Mexico Humanities Council, seeking to understand who we were, who we are, and who we hope to be. The New Mexico Humanities Council, proud to support public and interpretive programs throughout New Mexico.
This program was made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to our PBS NewsHour special live coverage of the President's address to a joint session of Congress and to the nation. I'm Judy Woodruff. This will be President Trump's first opportunity to speak before Congress. He said today the time is right for a new immigration law as long as both sides can compromise. Mr. Trump addresses a divided nation with high approval among Republicans, but disappointing numbers from Democrats and even many independents. He's also facing questions from Republican lawmakers on priorities like health care and federal spending. Here with me now at the NewsHour table tonight, our regular contributor, syndicated columnist Mark Shields, New York Times columnist David Brooks, and Amy Walter of the Cook Political Report. Also joining us are Matt Schlapp, chair of the American Conservative Union, and Karine Jean-Pierre. She's a senior advisor to MoveOn.org during the 2016 elections. And we welcome all of you tonight for the next couple of hours as we hear the president's address. David Brooks, it is the president's first chance to, I guess, make a second impression.
Yeah, I think so, and try to talk to people who hasn't already won over. Try to lead an organization instead of just being the person who will do everything himself because he knows more about everything than anybody else. He's got to rally a coalition. And so, from what we've seen in the excerpts, maybe a little of a softer, gentler, kind of roly-poly, gentle Donald Trump. What'll be interesting to me is, does he try to actually build a coalition? And two, does he get into any details? Is it sort of, I'm going to make a gesture to child care, I'm going to make a gesture to health care, I'm going to make a gesture to immigration, or does he actually draw some edges?
Mark Shields, what are you looking for as we keep an eye on the chamber as the president approaches?
As a member of the Roly-Poly Caucus, as David said, description of the president, who is a pretty trim guy, who doesn't trim on issues. But I think the question, Judy, symbolically, it reaches across in a great ceremonial moment for all presidents and for citizens, extends the olive branch. But if David's really curious about his getting into policy specifics, I'd ask him not to expect too much, because that is not Donald Trump's strong suit.
Amy Walter, as we wait for that announcement that the president's there, do we look for specifics, and does he really need to give
No, I don't think that most presidents do these as these sort of big vision statements, and a whole bunch gets thrown in there that they would love to do but are not must-haves. And it's also pretty clear, though, that the folks in Congress, his Republicans, want him to give them a way, to show them where your priorities are, what we're going to be able to get done this year. That may not happen in this speech. Remember, this Congress can only handle so much. And getting through two very big pieces of legislation, healthcare reform and tax reform, that alone is going to take up all of their energy and capital. trying to squeeze more in is going to be a very difficult thing to do. So a lot of this is going to be talked about tonight that may not go anywhere in 2017.
It looks like the president's about to enter.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
And there he is. Matt Schlapp is joining us from the American Conservative Union. You've wanted to see a Republican
Yes.
walk down that aisle for a few years.
Yeah, I think these are always great moments, right? And Donald Trump is got the opportunity with a very big television audience to address people in a substantive way on his policy priorities. So part of this is reacquainting the American people with what he wants to do to get the economy going, which is what this is all about. And second of all, I agree with Amy. It's also about urging Congress to get going. Presidents always